Hello and welcome to another Tinto Talks, where we're going to be talking about the things that Tinto are cooking up in that game that we're all incredibly hyped about, Europa Universalis 5. Let's get on to today's topic, which of course is the 100 Years' War. We've seen this artwork before, it's still amazing. Obviously it's a fictional scenario. We're not going to get cavalry charge right up towards a English battle line with the two kings fighting in the center. That's just obviously not going to happen. But it's a cool piece of art nonetheless. I really enjoy it. I really like it. And yeah, let's get in and have a look at the 70th Tinto Talk, the 100 Years' War. Historically, the war started when, in May 1337, Philip VI confiscated the Duchy of Aquitaine from Edward III of England for the reason of breaching his obligations as a vassal, which was responded to by Edward III claiming the throne of France by the rights of his mother, Isabella of France. The situation was way more complicated than this, though leave the historical events here. In our game, a couple of months after the start of the game, so June 1337, this event will trigger to France. England grants refuge to Robert de Artois. Sir Edward III Plantagenet of England has granted the disgraced Lord Sieur Robert refuge. For the last few years, Robert has avoided the summons of King Philippe VI, the Fortunate de Valois, for his crimes of forgery in an attempt to seize the county of Artois. While King Edward III is ruler of England, he's also our vassal through his rule over Aquitaine. As such, the harbouring of fugitive Sieur Robert d'Artois would create a justification to seize the Duchy of Aquitaine, should King Edward refuse to comply in surrendering him. However, such a veiled threat towards the English court runs the risk of starting conflict. So, book option, demand King Edward surrender the fugitive lord, or you could just decide not to. I assume the AI is like 9 times out of 10 going to choose the book option. I'm assuming there's also probably going to be a game rule where the AI always chooses book options where possible. I would prefer it to be just heavily weighted towards book, rather than guaranteed 100%. Either way, when you demand it, should King Edward refuse, we can assert our claim to Aquitaine, granting us cores. It'll draw us closer to war with England, and you gain some prestige. Or you could decide not to, and you gain some stability at the cost of prestige. Sir Robert may encourage King Edward to press his claim to France through Dame Isabel the She-Wolf Capets against our Salic law. So either way, you're probably going to go to war. You're not going to be able to just avoid the 100 Years' War. While this is the English point of view, when the French court demands the surrender of Robert. The King of France has demanded that we return Sir Robert d'Artois, who has taken refuge in our court, and has lately become a trusted advisor for King Edward. Should we act in defiance of the French king, they may move to confiscate the Duchy of Aquitaine. During his time in the English court, Sir Robert has argued that King Edward should be the rightful ruler of France, with his Capetian lineage through his mother, Dame Isabel the She-Wolf Capet, and that the previous declaration of Salic law to enthrone King Philippe the Fortunate was illegitimate. As such, this may serve an opportunity to claim the throne of France for ourselves. Essentially, when you look at the 100 Years' War, you just need to realize one very, very important thing. It happened exclusively because the French were more misogynistic than the English. That's just how it is. They didn't think that thrones could pass through women, and the English did. They were simply more sexist, and therefore wrong. Because sexism is wrong. And the English are correct because they were less sexist. That's how it works. I'm taking no questions at this time. Anyway, if you defy the French king and make preparations to invade France, the French court will see it as a violation of the vassal obligations, may move to confiscate the duchy, giving them cores on all Aquitanian locations, gain cores on Sir Robert's claims in the county of Artois, in the province of Arras, along with the province of Amiens. Should we conquer portions of Artois, may grant Sir Robert those territories and make him a vassal. That's cool. You go towards belligerent societal value. You get the invasion of France preparation for 10 months, which I assume they're going to tell us what it does. You gain some army tradition, and you gain the Throne of France CB on France for 4 years. If you accept the status quo, you gain some stability, you lose some prestige. Robert he's off, mate. He's probably gonna lose his head or something. And then you and France kind of like each other. If the historical options are followed, which is said to always happen to AI countries, again, for certain things like firing the 100 Years' War, yeah, I'm kind of fine with that. But when it's just random book options is what I'm talking about, right? I say random book options. When it's an event that has far-reaching consequences, like the 100 Years' War, sure, make that fire every time. If it's something like, oh, a distinguished painter has arrived at the court of Florence, do you want to hire him? And I feel like the AI can say no to that sometimes. Anyway, the Crown of France. The King of England claims they are the rightful throne. Rightful throne, that doesn't sound good. As they do not agree that the ruler of Kingdom of France should be determined by Salic law, as they view that King Edward has a better claim, as his mother Dame Isabel was the sister of Count Charles the Fair, while King Philippe is much further related. This probably needs rewritten. This is as while it's like too much. But if the English are fools, if they say that the English are fools, England gains the throne of France CB, and then you get access to unique actions such as influence French subjects and request papal delegates through the situation panel, because you get to the 100 Years' War situation. 100 Years' War between England and France over territorial claims and over who had the right to rule France. Clearly, yet again, we see the superiority and the dominance and the overall righteousness of the English cause, because that guy's beard is better than that guy's babyface. I'm just saying, that's a fact. That's just a fact. It's right there. It's a fact. Just saying. So, in the situation panel, you get declare war on the Kingdom of England and find new allies. Through the comments that I've read in the, after this Dev Diary, this literally just brings you to the panel where you find allies, the diplomatic macro builder-esque thing where you find allies. That's all that does, but it keeps you in the same place, so that's good. You have some main actions as well, requesting papal delegates and granting subject titles. You see Defenders of England, Defenders of France, and this will fill up with allies of each. And we get a map! Love me some maps. I'm sure someone is going to pore over these maps and see all of the ways that things have changed in... Actually, you know what? I feel like I can do that. Isn't that a way different Wales than what we've seen? Hold up, that's a very, very different Wales. Hold up. I know, I don't really want to do this, but that looks like a very different Wales. Where's England? Where's England? Great Britain and Ireland feedback thread. Give me a. Yeah, I'm right. The poor sod who was going to pore over the maps was me all along. Also, Kingdom of England versus just England. I know that changes based on zoom level, but it's still kind of cool. But yeah, okay. So, lots of extra stuff going in there. Starting situation of the 100 Years' War with the French and English subjects. You can notice the striped vassals, which means that these are disloyal subjects. Oh, I like that. That is a very, very cool element to add. Oh, big fan. Big fan. That's cool. All right. As you can see, each contender has their own set of objectives. So the English victory conditions, France doesn't exist. France is a subject or below of England. England has enforced the union with France peace treaty, which creates a union with England. Through rightful blood and ancient precedent, we will assert dominion over the Kingdom of France. This treaty will pave the way for a new future for the entire region under our rule. I'm a little worried. If this... I feel like in a player's hands, England should still really struggle to do this. To the point where it's probably not worth it. Like, when I first started playing EU4, I'm talking about 4 here, like the game that's currently out, it was back during a time when England and France started the game at war. right? And essentially, most guides for England, YouTube or Reddit or what have you, basically said you should just get out of the war. All multiplayers, essentially, if you had an England and a France, the England and France would do a deal with one another where England would give up their French holdings and then they would just have peace, because that was the best thing for both England and for France. And I remember when I started playing EU4 and we started at war, I hit my head against a wall 1,000 times trying to win that war. England was the first country I ever played, and I probably restarted the game as England 2-3 dozen times until I finally managed to win. And as soon as I won, I kind of closed the game and started playing someone else. Getting the Union over France should be a double-edged sword. Both you bleed so heavily trying to get it that it might not be worth it, and also it being a really large country with a really large population of really French people who don't like you should probably be a little bit difficult to hold on to at all. I think, scenarios where you get the dual monarchy is... I just don't feel like it is going to be the right play for most runs. I think as England, I'm going to try and get out of the 100 Years' War most times as fast as possible. But you never... I don't know. I played England when I played EU5 once. And I didn't seem all that competent. I managed to land in France and siege down essentially everything around here, including Paris. Didn't see a single French army, so I started playing a bit more Florence instead. But essentially, what I'm hoping for is it to be possible if you are really going to struggle and pull out all the stops, but not worth it, is what I hope to be the case. Anyway. The French victory conditions. England does not exist. No, please. Less than 4 locations in France. Okay, that works. Because Pas-de-Calais, that can be fewer than 4 locations. And that's historical. Owner or top overlord is England. Oh, 4 locations have owner or overlord is England. Okay, I get it. French victory conditions, we are a subject or below of France. It's written a little bit strangely, but either way. You can also see that there is a strength comparison. So, relative military strength to France, 50%, France 49%. That's kind of cool. Army size 0, levy size 33, almost 34,000. France's potential levy, 25,000. Oh, I mean, that's painful, to, equal percentage, but they are outnumbered by us. Yeah. Anyway, numbers are a matter of balance. Please consider it work in progress. That's fair enough. With the situation and claims in place, it's just a matter of time before one of the sides declares war on the other. So, conquer and subject cost, minus 25%. Max antagonism for the attacker, 0. Okay, that's cool to see. That's very, very cool to see. It's cool to see that there is, you don't get antagonism for, pressing a throne of France. But more, it's cool to see that that is a modifier that people can, modders can make use of. That's cool that exists as a thing that can be fiddled with. Either way, defend of the throne of France CB. This is when France can declare war on England. We got the same modifiers there as well. War! We declared war on the Kingdom of England. Let's hope our preparations are enough. Countries on the defending side, England and vassals. Something interesting is that each war is considered a phase of the situation. So until it ends, any war between France and England will be considered the first phase or the second phase, and so on. So we have the Kingdom of France plus 45 allies, vassals, etc. Kingdom of England plus 16 allies, vassals, etc. So War goal. Defender controls, win the 100 Years' War. Okay, I mean, I'm not sure what location is named win the 100 Years' War, but it's cool that France controls that. Good for them. And then battle war score as well. Situation panel will also refresh when the war starts, so you can quickly check if there's everything related to it. So we got the first phase of the 100 Years' War is a button that can do things, negotiate a peace, find new allies, etc. Okay. Let's talk about the actions. There's a common action that any of the sides can do if the war has lasted for longer than 4 years that requests the Pope to enforce a white peace among the contenders. Alright. That's kind of cool. The senseless war between us and our foes dragged on for long enough. Time to request for a mediator to enforce peace between the two sides. So the Pope gets the event. England demands papal mediation. I assume you can have an option of saying no? I mean, spending money and legitimacy to get yourself a white peace? The most important of those are related to the French subjects, though. The objective for France will be to rein them in and have them contribute to the war effort in the conflict phase, while for England it'll be about convincing them to abandon the French king in the peace phases. Okay, fair enough. So you, as France, can grant subject titles, obviously costing a little bit. You gain strong diplomacy, which... no idea what that does. Cool. Influence French subjects. This is the English objective. Sowing the seeds of doubt and division between the Kingdom of France and their subjects will greatly help our war efforts against them. So you can do it on any appanage that doesn't have diplomatic betrayal. 300 gold to do it, though, feels like a lot. Okay. The French subjects have their own gameplay and actions related to their relationship with the French sovereign, and if they stay loyal to them or not. So you can demand some autonomy from them, demand a border adjustment, or betray them entirely. Very nice. So demanding autonomy, it doesn't tell you what it does. You just get you know, the demands of Normandy event. Show the event. Leverage our influence against that of our overlord in order to secure special privileges that will only benefit us and our prosperity. Demanding border adjustments. I mean, I guess demand the return of selected core. Okay, that works. This is enough. Come to our attention that our neighbor peers, fellow subjects of the Kingdom of France, currently control part that we consider ours. This must be pursued with the utmost urgency, lest we risk losing valuable land. And then betrayal. The tides of war change. While once we may have pledged our sword in assistance of our strong allies during the ongoing conflict, we must reconcile with the reality and pursue a different course of diplomacy in an effort to spare our people from the horrors of war and subjugation. Cool. For quite some time now, the status of the first phase of the 100 Years' War has left us very displeased. Despite assurances from France, many of our advisors support the idea of turning against them. The tide of war may yet change, and we would do well to be ready. By dispatching a proposal to England, maybe we can bridge our differences and shift the balance of power. Very cool. Doesn't say who this is for, but it doesn't matter. So at the end of the day, one of the contenders will probably be strong enough to defeat the other. In the case of France, it's straightforward. No more independent English presence on the continent. In the case of England, besides pure conquest, the claim the throne of France peace goal requests that England must control more than 15% of the ownable locations in the French region, and one of those must be the capital of France. The cost of this treaty also depends on two factors, as a base cost and a fluctuating cost based entirely on the relative strength between the two countries. So a stronger England would inevitably make this peace treaty somewhat cheaper. Alright, that's fair enough. So that's how the mechanicals work for the 100 Years' War, but there are also a bunch of events, random and historical, that are dependent on it, such as the Scots King in exile. Ever since the Battle of Halidon Hill in 1333, King David the Bruce and his closest advisors have lived in exile in France under the protection of King Philippe. In the years since David the Bruce's exile, also, new thing that they're doing, the first time a name is said, it is highlighted and tool-tippable. The second time, it is not. This is good. This is very good. I like to see this. In the years since King David's exile, the pretender King Edward, backed by England, has fought against forces loyal to King David in Scotland in an attempt to claim the Scottish throne for himself. Since the signing of the Auld Alliance in 1295, Scotland and France have maintained a close relationship. Should Balliol succeed in Scotland, it will surely see the kingdom succumb to English influence once more. If the faction loyal to King David is to succeed, It will need the backing of the French court, probably. So this is a thing for France, I believe. So you can grant him the resources of the court, support him in the cause, tell him the Scots cause is lost, okay, and send him home, and offer him to King Edward. Nice. We also have the mercenaries in the 100 Years' War. Mercenary company, small mercenary company, worded badly, has gathered in London, drawn by the bloodshed between France and England. Sensing an opportunity to profit from the chaos, they offer their services to the highest bidder. The skilled warriors at their command, the allegiance could tip the scales in this prolonged conflict. Cool that that's happening, though. We also have the Jacquerie Rebellion. Relations between the noblesse and the commoners have reached a close, boiling point, and now the peasantry has begun to rise in a disorderly manner all across France. These mobs, armed with scythes and pitchforks, are led by no general, but instead anger. Their goals are simple. They desire only to upend the social order and destroy all living symbols of their repression. If our great nation is to survive, we must crush this rebellion and set a historical example for what happens when one steps out of their station. Very cool. I like that. So if you can call upon the noblesse, they gain satisfaction. Approximately 1 million pops join the Jacquerie. Holy balls. That's huge. That's massive. Okay, I wasn't gonna, but now I am. The Jacquerie is a peasant rebellion in 1358. The term Jacques Bonhomme, meaning simple honest Jack, was a derogatory term used by the nobility to describe the peasants. The revolt was severe and widespread. Yeah, there's 1.3 million of them. Severe and widespread being the combination of extreme exploitation against the peasantry. It's the French, man. Stop being mean to the peasants. As such, even unlikely allies like the Kingdom of Navarre showed up to make sure it would not succeed, as it could have potentially even broken the entrenched feudal system and led to a decline in royal and noble power. Damn, I was not actually aware of this. Jeanne d'Arc. As 1431 progresses, France finds itself at a crossroad. The constant humiliating defeats suffered at the hands of England have left the military and civil leadership demoralized and discredited. When King Philippe granted Jeanne d'Arc's urgent request to be equipped for war and placed at the head of his army, his decision must have been based in large part on the knowledge that every orthodox, every rational option had been tried and had failed. Only a regime in the final straits of desperation would pay any heed to an illiterate farm girl who claimed that the voice of God was instructing her to take charge of her country's army and lead it to victory. So you get Jeanne d'Arc, she'll be allowed to lead troops, you gain army tradition, gains the Maid of Orleans for 24 years, whatever that ends up doing. Holy stats, brother man! 99, 93, 93? It's not the voice of God instructing her, it's God himself possessing the poor lady. Anyway, on Friday, we get the Tinto flavor for France. Looking forward to that one. As much as I am an Englishman who very much likes playing as England, I also do quite like playing France. It's a very fun country in EU4. I'm sure I will also like playing it in EU5. But before we get on to the Tinto flavor about France, because obviously that happens on Friday, firstly, maybe subscribe to the channel. Join the 54% of people who are already subscribed to the channel, and helps you out, helps me out, stay informed, all of that jazz. Yeah. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's have a look at some of the developer responses to the community questions under this dev diary. So, first of all, that's not one of them. This is me opening a tab to see that the Wales have changed. Ignore that one. Let's have a look at this one, though. Can England gain the support of the disloyal French vassals somehow, for example, Burgundy? They can secure the neutrality of the French subjects through the situation. To gain their support, they need regular diplomatic means. Part of me wonders if this means that you can say, if a French subject is disloyal, as England, can I ally appanages? Can I ally disloyal appanages? Because that would be really cool. I would very much like to see that be the case. That would make sense to me. Can you say no to the papal delegates and continue the war for a cost, obviously, or will it end the current phase in a white peace no matter what? Not currently, but I like the idea. We'll just take a look to see if we can add it. This felt like an obvious thing to me, that you can say no. It shouldn't just be a case of, oh, we fought for 4 years, boom, done, white peace. And I don't see that ever working out. So making it be a very steep cost for saying no to the Pope, probably a good thing. But also, this makes me think that it's very balanced for multiplayer. If an England and a France want to go at it and like actually fight the 100 Years' War rather than just, doing that EU4 thing of, all right, I'll leave France and we'll be, friendly, etc. They can actually have a proper 100 Years' War, and it won't result in pure death war, digging into the absolute pits of economy and population, because there's always the out of, hey, Pope, can you give us a white peace, please? I kind of want to see this element, expanded a bit. I kind of want to see if there's a war between two Catholics, I kind of want to see it be that you can ask the Pope for mediation just regardless of whether it's the 100 Years' War or not. Like, if you've got a war between, Austria and Hungary, and the war's been going on 4 years, can the Hungarians go, hey, Pope, we're good Christians, we're good Catholics. The Austrians, bad Catholics. Can you mediate for us, please? Can we have this war? That would be so cool. That would be incredibly cool. I really want to see that. I really want to see that. Let me know what you think of my suggestion in the comments. Imagine being 2 years into a conflict and calling it the first phase of the 100 Years' War. One might accuse someone of a slight bout of pessimism. It's true. It's true. How likely is it that these conflicts actually last multiple generations or anywhere near 100 years? Let's say for an uninfluenced AI playthrough. So the last QA report they had regarding it was a Castilian playthrough, minimum direct involvement. It lasted for over a century. So it does happen, although you can't tell us exactly how often that is the case. They also have had reports of it lasting only 20 years. As we usually say, it's a matter of balance, which changes very often. Also, I agree with Twig here. It is an absolutely fantastic Dev Diary. I really like the situation. Situations are like the peak of flavor that we've seen so far. Love them. What exactly is the impact of the new target in the CB? Does it limit what you can take in the war? If that's the case, I absolutely love it. But I would ask that the war can be extended with another CB should one country ask for it. So France can ask for Middlesex, even if they're one being attacked, or the opposite if France attacked England. So the target, in this case, is simply the capital province of France. The CB itself indeed limits which locations you can take, but that limit, as of right now, is simply the region of France. This is amazing to add. Oh, yes. And again, I'm thinking of expanding this into multiple areas, right? If you've got a war, say you have a colonial war, if you as England declare on Castile or Spain for, colonial claims in the Caribbean, and I go and sail my ships to, Sevilla, land, go take Madrid, and I take Gibraltar. No, I take land in Spain. That's kind of awkward and dumb and probably shouldn't happen in a colonial war. But if the colonial war CB makes it so that only land in the colonies can be a target of conquest, that's absolutely fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. I think, obviously, this Dev Diary has been great for the situation in and of itself. But seeing, some of the little mini mechanics behind the mechanics, very much happy to see these as well. This kind of stuff, I love. I love this kind of stuff. Is there any content for Burgundy in this situation? Or any of the other French subjects getting historical events? So they didn't focus on the French minor countries, I'm sorry to say. It would have been super interesting, and he personally loves the plots of Charles of Navarre and Gaston him. But that will need to wait for the future. That's fine, I guess. For me, I can absolutely see DLC later on down the line where we have a France DLC, and France gets a bunch of stuff, but also all of the French miners get content as well, and also I do kind of want to see the rise of Burgundy in some campaigns. maybe not all of them, but I would like it to be a thing that happens sometimes. Does this include the Pale of Calais? That being the owns all but 4 provinces. So France can still win if England has fewer than 4 locations on the mainland, so including Pas-de-Calais. Can other countries intervene in the war like happened historically? Yes, fantastic. In the influencer videos from a few weeks back, England reportedly never won the 100 Years' War, or not even close calls. Has there been any rebalancing since then to see the potential result to be more 50-50? Yes. I mean, balancing happens all of the time. Now England is more likely to win the first phases, while France has more options if they're able to keep fighting and rein in or integrate its subjects. Fair enough. For me, I don't think I agree with this. Like, I don't remember seeing France kick England out of France. I don't think that happened once for me. The 100 Years' War was still going on basically in all my campaigns. The longest campaign I did lasted 100 years, and as far as I remember, 100 Years' War was still going on, so I guess I didn't really focus on the 100 Years' War. Although he says reportedly, so one of the influencers that I didn't watch their video apparently, reported on this. I didn't see this. I didn't see this at all. But anyway, will we be allowed to keep Joan of Arc? Girl boss looks so strong. I mean, with those stats, yeah, she does look strong. Besides, Queen Jean has a nice ring to it. It's technically possible to marry the character with the ruler or heir, although getting the penalties for being a lowborn. I mean, if you're France, I mean, you gotta do it, right? Because those stats are juicy. However, if you're English, will there be an event for her capture and/or execution? Yes! There's an entire event change revolving around her. Very nice. Look, at the end of the day, this is witchcraft. This is clearly witchcraft. This cannot be allowed to exist because it is pure heresy. Nobody is this good. Therefore, she's done a deal with the devil. Clearly, objectively, obviously, and clearly she needs to burn for that heinous sin. That's just all I'm saying here. That's all I'm saying. How do you simulate the rise of Burgundy? Again, this is something I'd like to see, but not simulate. I don't want railroads. I want nudges. So they're not simulating it at all. Since he knows it'll be controversial, I mean, that's fair. He's going to explain a bit more in detail about why they've made the decision. So, the Duchy of Burgundy in EU5 is very different from the Duchy of Burgundy in EU4. These are the historical events that, in summary, led to it. So, first of all, the heir to the duchy, Philip of Rouves, grandson to Duke Odo, the ruler in 1337, died in 1361 at 17 years old, had no descendants. The duchy was inherited by the King of France, who granted it to one of his sons, Philip the Bold. In 1363, the grant was confirmed by his brother, King Charles V, in 1364 after the death of their father. In the following decades, by marriage and conquest, the Dukes of Burgundy secured a number of duchies, counties, and principalities in eastern France and the Low Countries, reaching their height under the new rule of Duke Philip the Good, the ruler in 1444. The country entered as a dynastic union with Austria after the death of Mary of Burgundy, with her grandson Emperor Charles V inheriting not only Austria and Burgundy, but also Castile and Aragon. All of this is extremely convoluted to represent with scripted content, but can actually happen through the mechanics of EU5, although it's unlikely to happen as there are a ton of RNG rolls for this to happen. Therefore, they decided not to create content about it, as it would need to be extremely railroaded, which goes against the dynamic content approach that we're following in this game. Maybe in the future they could have in the game some more or new different narrative tools to follow a different approach regarding this, but in general terms, they favoured gameplay-attached content over railroaded content as a complement to the game's mechanics, not a replacement for them. Look, it is a good justification because, yeah, this, I feel like, you don't need to worry about this part. Just this part. I just kind of want to see them do well, Burgundy was such a fun country. Either way. It's fine. It's fine. I don't, like I say, I don't want railroaded content. It would just be nice to see Burgundy do well sometimes, you know? Anyway. A chance for a Sisterhood Nun Crusader Order France, please. So along with avoiding the railroaded content, they're also going to try and avoid the meme content for the game's release. So it may happen later on, down the line, we may see weird bullshit. And I'm kind of for that as well. I think that's cool. I don't know if it's always been the case, or when things have changed, but he likes the fact that they're only indicating or tooltipping the first instance. I mentioned this when this one came up. It's really cool, and it's now a hard rule. They're considering repeating instances to be a bug and fixing them when it's reported. Fantastic. I love this change. Whether it's a change or not, actually, I don't know, but it's very, very cool. I like it a lot. What's the starting diplomatic situation for Aquitaine? Is it possible for it to be both a vassal of France and in a union with England? How are its obligations to both crowns represented? Unfortunately, it is too complicated to portray. It was even so complicated in real life that one could argue that the real reason behind the start of the war was this double status. In our game, it's an English subject. I mean, fair enough. Can you please explain what's going on in the image? I'm confused how these numbers work together. So, the 45 and the 16. Why'd you add France's 45 to England's 16 to get 61? Why is there a plus 11? Why is there not a plus 11 from 61 to 50? So essentially, the 45 and the 16 are each side's allies. Those numbers are horrible in the game. And yes, 45 French allies, goddamn. And I believe this is tax base. And then these are the English vassals. So, yeah, there's quite a lot on both sides. Although, you can see 3 of France's friends are stronger than England's biggest friend. And then this, 3 more are stronger than the second strongest friend, and then a bunch, like all of the rest of them, basically, are stronger than the third best friend. Either way, yeah, fun. And finally, as an England player, given all the difficulties, does it make sense to try and get the throne of France at the start of the game through the situation, or is it better to develop and then conquer through a regular war? Is it possible to get a CB for the Union if you refuse the 100 Years' War? And that is on an English player to decide, not us. I mean, fair enough. That is fair enough. But, yeah, I mean, I already gave my kind of take on that, and what I think is right, or what I would like to see being the case, with it being enough of a struggle that you might not think it's worth it, that kind of thing. But I would like to know what you guys think. If you are going to be taking part in the 100 Years' War, playing as England or France, who are you playing as? Which one do you want to play as? What do you want to happen in the 100 Years' War? Let me know in the comment section below. I will be delighted to read them. And as well, just remember, if you haven't already subscribed, maybe do that. It makes me happy to see number go bigger. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you on Friday. Bye-bye.